A person promises themselves, "This time will be different." They enter another toxic relationship, make the same financial mistake, ignore the same warning signs, trust the wrong people again. Years pass, and suddenly a disturbing question appears. Why do human beings keep repeating the same mistakes? Why does history repeat? Why do relationships repeat? Why do personal failures repeat? And why do intelligent people often walk directly into problems they have already experienced before? This is not simply a story about bad decisions. It is a story about human nature itself. Because throughout history, human beings have repeatedly made the same mistakes. Wars repeat, economic bubbles repeat, political failures repeat, personal regrets repeat. The names change, the technology changes, but the patterns remain surprisingly similar. One reason is that humans do not learn primarily through knowledge. They learn through emotion. People often know what is right. The problem is acting on it. A smoker understands the risks. A spender understands debt. A person in a toxic relationship often recognizes the warning signs. Knowledge exists, yet behavior remains unchanged. Why? Because emotions frequently overpower logic. The brain evolved to seek immediate rewards. Comfort today often feels more important than consequences tomorrow, and this creates a powerful cycle. Humans repeatedly choose short-term relief over long-term wisdom. There is another reason. People remember pain, but they also forget it surprisingly quickly. Time softens memories. Failures become less vivid. Warnings lose emotional intensity. And eventually, old mistakes begin looking tempting again. This is why people often return to situations they once swore they would never repeat. The emotional memory fades faster than expected. The lesson weakens. The cycle returns. History demonstrates this on a much larger scale. Financial markets repeatedly create bubbles. Investors become convinced this time is different. Then the cycle repeats. Optimism becomes greed. Greed becomes excess. Excess becomes collapse. And generations continue repeating remarkably similar patterns. Perhaps the deeper reason humans repeat mistakes is hope. People want to believe the outcome will be different this time. That the person has changed. That the risk is worth taking. That luck will be on their side. Hope is powerful, sometimes powerful enough to override experience itself. There is also the influence of identity. People become attached to familiar behaviors, even destructive ones. A person may repeatedly choose the same type of partner, the same habits, the same reactions, the same emotional patterns. Because familiarity feels safe, even when it creates suffering. Perhaps this is the most uncomfortable truth. Human beings do not always repeat mistakes because they fail to learn. Sometimes they repeat mistakes because change requires becoming a different person. And that is far more difficult than simply gaining knowledge. The real challenge is not recognizing mistakes. Most people already know their weaknesses. The challenge is breaking patterns, because patterns become part of identity. And identity resists change. So perhaps the real question is not, why do humans repeat mistakes? Perhaps the deeper question is, how many of our problems come from lessons we already learned, but never truly applied? Because maybe the greatest trap in human life is not ignorance. Maybe it is knowing exactly what needs to change, and continuing to do the same thing anyway.